How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. In this video, we're back to the classic 3 news topic structure because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world of Steam hardware. The first topic is that modding's about to get a lot better on Steam hardware. After that, I'm calling people out. Stop calling the Steam Deck old. And finally, I gotta tell you guys about the Outlast trials. I have not had one of those nights where you stay up till you see the sun coming up through the window in like years. Probably 5 years. I just had one with the Outlast trials. My buddies and I stayed up literally all night playing this game, and it runs flawlessly on the Steam Deck. Before I jump into it, subscribe, set your notifications to all, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at deck_ready. But let's get into the first news topic here and talk about the modding situation on the Steam Deck because it's about to get a whole lot better. So Nexus Mods, I would say, is probably the most well-known modding platform if you're on Windows. Like if you want to mod Fallout 4, Skyrim, there's a ton of games. Like Cyberpunk 2077, I think, is in Nexus Mods as well. That's the site where everyone seems to upload their mods. Bethesda tried to make their own in-game mod store happen, and it kind of worked out, but like for all intents and purposes, I think Nexus Mods is the king of PC game mods. And over the past few years, they've been working really hard to make a new app called Vortex, which is a huge upgrade over the old Nexus Mods app. So you download Vortex, and then when you download mods from the website, they automatically install to whatever game they're for within the Vortex app. And that has not been available on Steam Deck, and traditionally that app hasn't worked all that well on Steam Deck. I think they put it in alpha last year and released Stardew Valley mods for it, but like you couldn't use it in the same way that you could with Windows. And now at the beginning of 2026, they're reevaluating their whole structure, and they're like, look, you can get different apps like Mod Organizer 2 set up. I'm pretty sure you can run the old Nexus Mods app through Proton or Wine using Lutris or something like that, but they are doubling down and providing full support for the Vortex app this year on Steam hardware. So if you have a SteamOS device, whether it's the Steam Machine, the Steam Deck, or the Steam Frame, it looks like you're going to be able to use one app to control all of your mods. And I think it's cool because anything they can get parity on between Windows and Linux obviously gives Linux more of a foothold to capture more users. And that just helps SteamOS because developers will catch on to the fact that more people are on that platform and start putting out Steam Machine presets, Steam Deck presets. And the best part is they'll optimize their games for Steam hardware at launch instead of like a year or so later. And I'm not criticizing the developers who do go back and eventually add Steam Deck support to their games. I greatly appreciate it. It's just like you have such a huge audience of people who are totally willing to buy games, just sitting there waiting to be able to play your game on their preferred device, and doing it a year later is just kind of antithetical. And it seems like the only reason that doesn't happen quicker is because the audience is just smaller on Steam hardware. So getting more apps that people use every day like Vortex working on SteamOS, it's just a net win overall. There is another app that works really well if you want to mod Fallout 4, New Vegas, Fallout 3, Skyrim, any of those bigger games that have tons of mods that actually does interface with the Nexus Mods website. It's called Mod Organizer 2. It's really easy to set up. You just download it, add it to Steam as a non-Steam game, run the installer, and then you're pretty much good to go. It's a little bit old looking, I would say. Like it looks like way older versions of Windows, but like once you stare at it for 15 seconds and let your brain collect the information, it just clicks with you that it works pretty much exactly the same as, you know, Nexus Mods does over on Windows. And that's what I use. And every time I get a new Steam Deck or I re-image my deck because I critically screw something up when I'm installing a mod for a video or something like that, it's the first thing I install. I have all of my Fallout mods that I use in Google Drive, and I just download the folder, I drag it into Mod Organizer 2, and everything is good to go. It's just like a little inelegant because if you go back into game mode once it's set up, launching the game launches Mod Organizer 2, and then you got to hold the Steam button to use the cursor to start the game. It scales really weird. I know you can fix that stuff, but like out of the box, which is the ultimate goal for any app on SteamOS, I would say it's just feeling a little bit long in the tooth, and it could use an upgrade through this Vortex app. So hopefully it doesn't take too long to get it to 1.0 release on SteamOS. It really shouldn't take that long because like worst case, they could set it up to work with Proton, and then you just run the Windows version of Vortex, and then you just have to change the file paths, which shouldn't be that difficult. I don't know. I'm not a mod developer. I'm not a Vortex developer, but like that's how everything else works. You'd think like, you know, it would work fine on the Steam Deck. But yeah, I'm glad they're working on it. Let's move on to the second news story here, which is kind of like a plea to stop acting like the Steam Deck is the Nintendo Switch 1. I was looking for news stories that would work out for a video, and I saw, you know, this one that pops up all the time, which is 250,000 games are Steam Deck verified. That's great, but we all know as people who use the Steam Deck and potentially other Steam hardware, it doesn't doesn't really mean anything. Like, there's so many more games that are not verified or even marked as playable that work just fine. But like, a lot of the headlines are like, this proves that developers are still targeting Valve's aging hardware. The Steam Deck is barely 4 years old, and I know there are console generations out there that last like 3 or 4 years, like the original Xbox. They got that out the door pretty quickly before moving on to the 360. They always worked a little bit quicker. I think the PS2 generation was a little bit shorter as well, but like, those were outliers. Traditionally, console generations are about 5 to 7 years at the average, right? Like 7 years being the actual average lifespan of a game console. And the Steam Deck, if you treat it as a standalone piece of hardware, has objectively the biggest game library of any game console ever. Like with the Switch 1, you had to wait until they ported over 360 or PS3 era games. You had to wait till they ported over PS4 and Xbox One era games. You had to wait for first party exclusives. Like, yeah, on the Steam Deck, you have to wait until the AAA games come out, but once they're out, they work on Steam Deck. They might not run well, but traditionally, if a game doesn't run well on the Steam Deck, you're going to need like a 5090 or a 4090 to get decent performance. You're still going to see stuttering. It's still going to like hammer your CPU. Your parts are going to be running at max temps, because if a game is well optimized because of the way the Steam Deck scales, it'll generally speaking run about as well as it does on the Steam Deck as it does on better PCs or even the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. But then putting those brand new games to the side, I mean, you have every Steam game ever released just at your fingertips. Like right now, I'm playing Dead Rising 2 on my Steam Deck. I downloaded the copy of it I bought back when that game came out on Steam. I started it up. I had to change the Proton, but once I did that, it runs at a flawless 60 FPS. All the cutscenes work. All the controls translated over just fine. And that's like, what, a 20 or so year old game. I want to play Resident Evil 7 and Village before Resident Evil 9 Requiem comes out. 7 being 10 years old is making me feel extremely old, because I feel like that game just came out and it does not feel like a decade old game, but that works just fine. Village came out just a few years ago. That game works just fine. So like, looking at the Steam Deck as an aging device that really needs an upgrade. I mean, I would love an upgrade, but it doesn't necessarily need one. It's selling better and better as time goes on. And I still see every day people in the comments here on this channel and over on Reddit talking about, oh, I just finally got a Steam Deck and I'm having so much fun playing all my favorite games. That's not something you could do on other consoles that you would traditionally see these articles calling them aging or old, acting like they really need an upgrade. The real reason they position it this way is because they're scared that the audience is going to die down, and like the best way to juice the audience is to release new hardware. And you know, they've tried to like position every other handheld, like the ROG Ally, the Legion Go, the Legion Go 2, the ROG Ally X. Every article they've ever written, every video you see from these bigger outlets is like, this is the new Steam Deck killer. And then you look at it and it's like, oh, they rushed this hardware out the door. The software doesn't work all that well, and it's over $1,000. Whereas the Steam Deck's competitively priced, gets generally good performance pretty much across the board. And yeah, it struggles with some newer AAA games, but like everything struggles with newer AAA games, because they get to 75% done, kick them out the door for $70 and cross their fingers that most people have a 5080 PC just sitting on their desk, when they can just look at the Steam hardware survey and see, wow, most people have the equivalent to like a PS5 base model sitting on their desk, and we need to optimize for that instead. So yeah, when it comes to the Steam Deck 2, I think we'll see it by the end of next year, but like, I'm fine with my Steam Deck. I'm playing The Division right now, I'm playing Dead Rising 2, and most importantly, I'm playing the third topic of today's video, the Outlast trials. So I couldn't tell you why I waited so long to play this game, because I was a day one adopter of Outlast. It came out when I was in junior year of college. I played it on PC. It was one of the greatest survival horror games I've ever played, because it was a walking sim, which traditionally I don't like. I like games that have combat and guns and like shooting zombies and monsters and stuff, but this game was really cool because it kind of did give you a weapon, in the sense that it was pitch black in the Mount Massive Mental Asylum, and you had a camera that could let you see everything. So you could kind of like abuse the AI of enemies just by going into dark rooms, hiding, waiting for them to pass you, and then running your ass out of the room. I really like the standalone expansion, Outlast Whistleblower. I thought Outlast 2 was like a big step down. I thought the graphics and the gameplay were cool, but the story was ridiculous. But like, ultimately, I've played all these games and I am a huge fan of them. And then my buddy and I were scrolling Instagram reels, sending them back and forth to each other, and we were like, wow, the Outlast trials looks absolutely phenomenal. So we decided to buy it, download it, and we stayed up till like 3 or 4 in the morning on Friday night playing this game, and it is so amazing. The setup is pretty simple. It takes place during the Cold War era, and you're just some fucking low-life loser sitting on the street, and you see a poster on a telephone pole with the phone number on it, and it's like, we'll cure your mental problems. And you're like, sounds good. I got nothing else going for me. So you call this number, you go to the Murkoff facility, they put you in saw traps and they're like, work together to figure it out. And the saw traps themselves are awesome because they all take place in a big warehouse, but they recreate different areas that kind of fit the killer's sort of aesthetic. So like one that you start at the very beginning is a police station where you have to push this guy who's strapped to a electrocution chair to the electrocution chamber, and you have to solve all these puzzles to open doors to get him there. And the puzzles just involve running around the map and finding dead bodies with a tattoo on them that matches up with the door, and then you reach into their neck hole or their stomach and pull out a key. But it just gets chaotic super fast because it plays like Outlast. So you stick to the shadows, you go slow through all these different levels. Invariably someone on your team will run into like a giant naked guy with a giant hammer, and then all the shit hits the fan. You gotta like drop kick the guys off of them, get the key to the door, push the dude to the electrocution chamber, and then you have to run all the way back through the level to get out. And the thing that really makes this game stand out is that it looks amazing. Like graphically speaking, one of the greatest looking games I've ever played, but on top of that, it runs so well. Like on my PC, I run it at extreme settings, 4K, doesn't break a sweat at 60 FPS. On the Steam Deck, if you want to do 30 FPS, you can max it out. If you want to do 45 or 60, just set it to medium. It still looks really good, and it's a game that plays incredibly well on the Steam Deck because you don't have to worry about insane combat. The most combat you do in this game is like throwing a brick or a bottle at the killer's head, and then they fall on the ground, and then you run away. It's nothing too crazy, and if you play it with headphones in the dark, it's still extremely scary and a ton of fun. As far as DLC goes, all the actual levels are free, so like if you buy the game, you get all the content. They have battle passes that work like Arc Raiders or Helldivers 2, where you get currency for completing a match. It's got the pages. I don't love that system. I'd rather it just be a level up battle pass that I don't have to pay attention to, but the skins are crazy in this game. Like, I don't even know how to explain them without getting demonetized, but there's one where it's just a guy with no skin and it's very realistic. And then between matches, you're just in this like sleep room where you can upgrade your character or hang out. They have a chessboard. We played chess, and then while people are playing chess, you can slam the table, which is a lot of fun if you're playing with 4 people. There's also arm wrestling. It's just like a really well thought out, high quality game that plays extremely well on the Steam Deck. And if you're looking for something multiplayer to play on the Steam Deck that runs well and gives you a great experience with friends or randoms online, this might be the top tier. This might be the ultimate multiplayer game on the Steam Deck. I've moved on from Dead by Daylight because this game is just so much fun. I love it. It needs to sell billions of copies. Everyone should try it out. So if you have a Steam Deck or you're getting ready for the Steam Machine and you just have a Windows PC, just play this game with your friends and thank me later because like I love it. It's so good. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.
Go, go, go! Ethan!
Not again.
Oh my god, she's scary.